A very good evening and a warm welcome to one and all present here in this Clarinet session. We would like to thank all the doctors for joining in. I am Debolina from Clarinet. Clarinet is India's largest live digital CME and doctors generated medical content platform which is exclusively free for all the medical practitioners. So now I would like to play a short video of Clarinet. Let's have a look. Thank you so much all for your patience. You can always find us on Google, which is www.clarinet.com. There we have lots of live sessions conducted by eminent speakers across the globe. We have MedWiki services, which is medical Wikipedia for doctors. You can always read them. In your leisure time, you can play polls and quiz. Besides, we have telemed service that also you can experience. So now, without further delay, I would like to hand over the session to Dr. Raghunandan Ramanathan sir, who is founder and chairperson of Medicine. Sir, over to you to start with the scientific program.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. And good evening all. I would like to welcome all the participants for this, one of the most important and required topic at this current point of time. On behalf of IMA, JD and Tamil Nadu and Medicine, I would like to welcome all the participants. I would like to thank Dr. Venkatesh Karthikeyan sir, who is the General Secretary of IMA, JD and Tamil Nadu, for giving us this opportunity to combine and do this session with them. Thank you so much, sir. And I would also like to thank today's speaker, our Dr. Pratik Joshi, sir, one of the long-time associate of Medicine, and he is also one of the ortho faculty of our Medicine Forum. Thank you so much, sir, for joining with us. Dr. Pratik Joshi, sir, is Associate Fellow of American College of Surgeon and also Assistant Professor of Orthopedics from BJ Government Medical College, Pune. And sir is also going to join in Brington Hospital, Greater Manchester, United Kingdom as an orthopedic surgeon coming weeks. I would like to thank you, sir, for taking us your time on this busy schedule and coming to help us in deciding Swadeshi or Videshi. That is whether to be in India or to go to abroad, not only for your higher studies, also to discuss about the opportunities after completing your MBBS or your PG. Thank you so much, sir. In fact, sir is mastermind behind this session. When I asked him to do some kind of session as for our younger medicos as well as for the junior doctors across our state as well as across the country. He has a huge experience in traumatology, surgery, pelvic surgeries, and he is also a certified advanced trauma life support provider. He has various publications and also participated and organized various national and international conferences. He has also contributed a complete ortho clinical series for undergraduate students in our own YouTube channel. Thank you so much, sir, for always guiding us and also always being in support with us. Now, I would like to hand over the session to sir to guide us and help us in deciding our future career. Thank you so much, sir, on behalf of IMA, JD and Tamil Nadu as well as Medicine.
Okay, thank you, Raghu, and it's a pleasure to be here. And first of all, of course, thanks to entire team Medicine, team IMA, JD and Tamil Nadu, and the entire to Debolina and team Clarinet for putting across this session to a lot of people across the country. It's a real pleasure to be here. Now, basically, this kind of a session is not just I'm not trying to spark a debate on who wants to go where or who's supposed to do what. This is also not my way of propagating what I'm trying to do. It's basically what I would like to do is I would like to take you through my journey throughout the medical career so far and how I started off from being someone who was very deep into the Indian system, and then at a certain point in my career, I decided to take a plunge into going abroad. So I'll take you through the entire process, and hopefully at the end of the session, we will have approximately 15 to 20 minutes for question and answers. Please feel free to enter your question and answers into the chat box. And once the question answers reach us, Raghu and I will deal with it in the form of a panel discussion. So thank you again for having me here. I'm going to switch off my video now and I'm going to continue by sharing my screen. So let us start off on this session. And here we go. So here we are. Dr. Raghu, can you just confirm if the PowerPoint is visible so that I can start?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The PowerPoint is visible.
Okay, so good evening, everyone, and greetings from BJ Medical College, Pune. This is my alma mater, and this is the institute which brought me up from first MBBS kid to a master's degree holder in orthopedics and an assistant professor, and pretty much everything that I have done so far. This is where I grew up, and this is the institute which I'm proud to call my home. So, greetings from Pune, and today's session is, as we said, Swadeshi versus Videshi, that is India versus foreign career opportunities. Although in this particular title, I have said that there are opportunities for Indian graduates, it doesn't just restrict us to post MBBS people alone. I'm sure we have a lot of students who are in different stages of MBBS listening into this talk, and I'm sure there will be something that you can take home from this session. So that being said, my name is Dr. Pratik Joshi. And a little bit about me before we start the session. So I completed my MBBS and my Master of Surgery, that is MS Orthopedics, from BJ Medical College and Sassoon General Hospitals in Pune. And a year later, I also finished my DNB, that is Diplomate of National Board of Orthopedics, from the National Board of Examinations in Medical Sciences, New Delhi. And currently, I'm working as an assistant professor of orthopedics at BJ Government Medical College and Sassoon General Hospitals in Pune. I am a certified instructor from the advanced um, I'm a certified instructor with the Advanced Trauma Life Support from the American College of Surgeons, USA. And yeah, I just got a request to start the video. I will start in a minute or so until I finish reading this slide. So I'm an instructor with the Advanced Trauma Life Support with the American College of Surgeons, USA. And at the same time, I have also certified my, or I finished my certification in basic surgical skills and care of the critically ill surgical patient, or CCRISP, with Royal College of Surgeons, London, United Kingdom. I've done a couple of observerships here and there, one in Tata Memorial Hospital, Lower Parel, Mumbai, for musculoskeletal oncology, and a similar one at Guy's and St. Thomas NHS Foundation Trust Hospitals and King's College in London. As of today, I am a university approved undergraduate teacher from the Maharashtra University of Health Sciences, Nashik, and I had the opportunity to be a co-guide for the ICMR Short-Term Studentship 2022 in the Department of Orthopedics. Now, that being said, I'm starting my video again. I hope it is visible, and let us go on to the rest of the PowerPoint. So, as I said, this is not just some kind of marketing for where I'm going to the UK, which is Wrightington, Begin and Lay NHS Foundation Trust Hospitals in Greater Manchester. But this is my journey as to what I did until this point and how I was able to weigh the options and the different kinds of pathways which life gave. So I started, as I said, at BJ Medical College at Sassoon General Hospital, Pune, and 10 years can make a huge difference, not just in my hairline, which is receded over here, but starting from a very cheerful, bubbly first MBBS student to an equally cheerful assistant professor, but with a difference of 2 degrees and a lot of experience and a lot of different kinds of exposure which I got. And of course, this is somewhere where we have a lot of patient exposure. Orthopedics has always been a branch where we have good amount of patient contact and a wide variety of cases. And I was very lucky to have a crazy 3 years of residency at the same institute. So at the end of that, where I stand is at an institute where service, duty, and sacrifice is what is written on the logo or on the masthead of our institute. And this is our group of doctors. We were approximately 30 of us. Some of them are not in the picture. So we were approximately 30 of us when the service actually called for us. And this was in 2019. Anyone who is from Maharashtra is familiar with the city called KOLHAPUR. And we had a lot of floods and human and property damage in August 2019 in Kolhapur because of the untimely rains. And this is the team BJ Medical College Pune who had gone there as a flood relief operations or the disaster management kind of an operation. And this is the city of Kolhapur at the time of the floods, and the road that we are going on is State Highway 134, which is Kolhapur, which is reduced to such a small road because of the entire city being waterlogged or flooded. And this is when you actually feel that the years of medical training which you have had, which help you to be sympathetic and empathetic and compassionate and so on and so forth, these are being put to use. And at this particular point in time, I was not really considering any foreign option because I was looking at a lifetime of a career in the Indian setup. But and then I also had the opportunity to experience a good 2 months at Guy's in St. Thomas NHS Foundation Trust Hospital. And it was an observership in cold orthopedics and musculoskeletal oncology. And that is when I realized, or something which widened my horizons and which made me really think about what else I can do and where else I can go. So that is where I started considering my options, and that is where a whole new world opened up to me. And that's bringing in our topic for this afternoon, which is our comparison between the Indian and the foreign options as far as career is concerned. Now, here what we have is, of course, our traditional training route in India. Traditional training route in India is that we have a sort of a non-dichotomized or a monopolized training route in India, where you will have a exam which decides where you're going to go and what you're going to do. And then you join in a particular system. For example, through your NEET PG, you can join in into a set of government and non-government medical colleges, and you will start your 3 years of a master's, be it an MS being in surgical sciences or be it an MD being in the medical stream. And you will go through your 3 years, finish your MD or your MS and get your degree. Followed by that, of course, you will have the option in order to go over and above and finish your super specialization, or you may have the option of entering your private practice. You can also have, of course, the option of settling into your institute and joining in, be it if it's a government institute, you can slowly and steadily rise up the hierarchy, and you can rise up the ranks to become an assistant professor, then an associate professor, and then so long and so forth, you go onto the professor in the administrative side, such as superintendent or dean or things like that. They're excellent jobs, and there is a lot of responsibility to be held in these kinds of posts. The human contact of these posts is a lot, and you really get to serve society in a very good fashion. Then the next option by a lot, taken by a lot of people is something called the INICET. So that is your institutes of national importance. So back in the day when I was giving my NEET postgraduate entrance, at that time we used to have a separate entrance exam for each of these particular institutes. So the All India Institute of Medical Sciences had its own entrance exam, as did the Postgraduate Institute PGIM or Chandigarh, and so on and so forth. Nowadays, all of them have been clubbed into one single entrance examination, which is your INICET. The INICET, of course, gets you the same MS or MD degree in an institute of national importance, which is run by the central government. They are very high academic institutes, and they have a lot of potential to rise higher up in your career as well. The third, of course, option is something which we can basically spend another session on, and that is DNB versus the MDMS. Now, which is better and why? So it's not a lot of point in going into detail into this particular discourse in this lecture, because what we are here for this evening is something entirely different. But DNB and MS now are in the entire Schedule 1 of the NCI, which is the institutional degrees which are awarded by institutions in India and are recognized by the NMC. So for all practical purposes, that makes DNB and MS at the same level. There are, of course, differences based on the institute from which you do your training, and of course, differences based on the branches in which you are planning to get. But at the same time, DNB is slowly and steadily becoming as well recognized and as well accepted as your MD and MS. Of course, there are some kinds of advantages and disadvantages to this training route, which is the Indian training route. On one hand, in terms of advantages, what we have is that it is a very mainstream training route, which means you will have no dearth of coaching institutions, you will have no dearth of knowledge available on the internet, you will have no dearth of finding study partners and like-minded people, and there will always be someone or the other around who is following the same route. So a lot of the knowledge about this in terms of technical matters, in terms of eligibility and so on and so forth is freely available on the internet, and it is easily accessible, and therefore it does not feel like a shot in the dark. But the disadvantage of this is that there is a lot of competition. There are many lakh students who are giving the exam, and beyond a rank of approximately 10,000, it is a little difficult to get the institute which you like or the branch which you like. Unless you are incredibly lucky, it's a little difficult, and therefore the odds are not in your favor. We have an approximate 8 or 9% final selection rate across all branches and across all centers. So it's a little difficult. Another advantage of this is that it is a quick entry into the MDMS. It is a shorter course, and as we have been hearing from a lot of people, the training durations in India are a little shorter as compared to training durations abroad. Now, this is another sort of a myth or a misunderstanding, which we will get to in a while. But for the time being, we can take it as an advantage. And on the other hand, in terms of disadvantages, with the number of medical colleges and the number of training institutes which are coming up, MDMS, DNB, all of these degrees are now a little mainstream, and all major branches, especially the broad specialty branches, are facing a very big problem in India that is called as saturation. So saturation is a lot, especially in the larger cities, especially in the cities which have a lot of uh, large metropolitan population and a lot of government effort to put up new hospitals. Saturation is a little less in the peripheries of these cities and in the rural areas. So it is a mixed bag, no doubt, with its own advantages and disadvantages. So moving on now, a little quick brief about the training routes in the United Kingdom. I would like to thank my senior, Dr. Yadnik Jadhav sir, who is MBBS, MS Ortho, and member of Royal College of Surgeons, United Kingdom, for his help with these slides. And he was one of the reasons that I had a lot of clarity while I was going through this journey. So thank you very much, sir. And a few of the slides from this PowerPoint are also from a similar talk, which has been given by sir. It is absolute gold standard material. So in the UK, what we have is basically a longer pathway where you finish your MBBS and you join what is called as a foundation year, or a foundation year, which is equivalent to the internship which we are doing here. So foundation year or an internship, that is an FY1 or an FY2. Followed by that, what we go into is called as your core training. Now, core training is something which is reserved for medical branches. The same 1 or 2 years is referred to as surgical training, or ST1-2, in the case of surgical branches. It is the same status in your life. It is just a different name, and it is the equivalent of your JR1 ship or your JR2 ship. That is the first 2 years of your professional experience. Followed by that, you are expected to finish your MRCP or your MRCS examination at this stage. Once you're clear with that, what you get is into your ST3, that is your specialty training, years 3 to 8. Now, specialty training is something which is basically the equivalent of being an assistant professor here in India. If anyone is listening from the central government institutes, you must be aware that there is a 3 years of junior residency followed by 3 years of senior residency and 2 or 3 years of being an assistant professor before you can become a consultant or a professor. So it is exactly the same in the ST3 to ST8, which is a duration of 5 years where you are into your specialty training, at the end of which you are expected to have finished your FRCP, that is your Fellowship of Royal College of Physicians for the medical branch people, and the Fellowship of Royal College of Surgeons, that is your FRCS for the surgical branch people. And at the end of it, you will become a consultant after you have done this CCT, which is a completion of clinical training, which means you have done all of this. So now you can be called as a consultant. Now, on prima facie, it may appear that the route is very long and you may be putting in a lot of your time into this. But if you were to calculate from your start of MBBS, you will realize that the amount of time taken is exactly the same as it is taken in a central government institute to become this assistant or associate professor, that is a consultant level person. And so this is a parallel training route which is there in the United Kingdom. Moving on, now, of course, if you were to look for a career in the UK, you would like to deal with three major agencies. Number one is the first and foremost, which is the GMC or the General Medical Council, which is the equivalent of the National Medical Commission or NMC here in India. Followed by that, you also have to prove your English language efficiency, that is the IELTS, which is the International English Language Testing System, or the OET, which is the Occupational English Test. And lastly, once you are done with these two and you have an offer letter, you have to deal with the UKVI, which is the UK Visas and Immigration Authority, who will allow you to enter the country. So these are the three agencies with which you will be dealing when you are looking for a career in the UK. Now, of course, there are three routes for GMC registration. So the crux or the underlying highlight of this slide is that without a registration with the GMC, you are not eligible to work as a doctor in the UK. So you must start off with a GMC registration. So we can use the GMC registration. We can use one of these three pathways. One is called as the PLAB, or it is the Professional and Linguistic Assessment Board, PLAB. The second one is a Royal College membership exam, that is a member of Royal College of Surgeons or member of Royal College of Physicians. Or we can go via the MPI route, that is sponsorship. So we will go into a little bit of detail about this one slide per topic so that we get an idea of what exactly is going on. But what does not change is the fact that you have to be GMC registered in order to be a doctor in the UK. Moving on, of course, IELTS and OET, there are two routes which can be given, and each of them has a different set of the difficulty level, and each of them has a different kind of a profile. What you require as a doctor to be in the UK is something which is called as the IELTS academic. We are into a training course, and therefore not a general training module, but an academic module is what you have to pass with a decent band score in order to get into the UK. Followed by that, here are the two types of visas which we will be dealing with. Now, there are different 5 types of visas, out of which as a university student, you may be eligible for something which is a Tier 4 student visa. And later on, you may be eligible for a Tier 2, that is a skilled worker visa. So the visa will be either a Tier 4 or a Tier 2 visa. In some very rare cases for short-term training courses, you may utilize Tier 5 kind of a visa. So Tier 2, Tier 4, and Tier 5 are the 3 types of visas, out of which you will have to apply for one in order to go to the UK. And so we have to be some kind of a member of one of the 4 royal colleges. Now, all the 4 royal colleges are spread across the length and breadth of the UK, and they are equal in all standings. They conduct the exam, which is done by the exam conducting board, and a membership of one of these colleges is recognized across the UK. So there is Royal College of Surgeons of England, Royal College of Surgeons of Edinburgh, which is in Scotland, another one in Glasgow, and another one in Ireland. Now, one of these 4 colleges will be your college, which will grant you your membership. There is an exam called the MRCS or the MRCP. We will talk about it in some time, and that will be your entry exam. So, as we said, out of the 3 routes, one of them was the Royal College membership exams. So this was the route. The first route that we are now discussing is called as the PLAB. The PLAB is the Professional and Linguistic Assessment Board, which is a MCQ and an OSCE pattern. The ideal time for MBBS graduates, internship is the best time to finish your PLAB 1. And after finishing your internship or after finishing your 1 year of MBBS with less than a year of experience, PLAB 2, and it will let you enter at the FY1 or FY2 level of the training hierarchy, which is also the training pay scale in the UK. Moving on, the essential requirements of the PLAB are an acceptable primary medical qualification or PMQ, which is something which you can find out if your MBBS granted by your college or your university is the accepted to the UK. On the government.uk website, you will find out a list of the entire set of medical colleges in every country which are recognized or whose MBBS degree is recognized. Majority of medical colleges in our country are recognized, and the best thing to do is go on the gov.uk website and see that your college is there on that list. What you also require is a good score in the IELTS academic module, which is a band 7.5 with a 12 months of clinical experience at a teaching hospital, which means a good completion of internship, and of course a GMC online account, which will be something which you can start once you are done with your internship. The second route to go in is the membership of Royal Colleges, that is the MRCP for medical branches, the MRCS for surgical branches. Some specific colleges like MRCP-CH for pediatrics, MRCP Psych for psychiatry, and MRCOG for obsgyny. It will let you enter at a slightly higher level on the pay scale, that is ST1 or ST2 equivalent and above. And again, MRCS has two parts, that is a part 1 which is MCQ and a part 2 which is OSCE. And some branches will have part 3 and more. For example, MRCOG has 3 parts and MRCP has part 3 and then PACES as well. Moving on, we have the third route, which is the medical training initiative. Now, this is something which is not really applicable to MBBS graduates. It is for someone who has a few years of specialty experience. So if we have any postgraduate students or young faculty, someone who is roughly my level in the system who is listening, medical training initiative is applicable to someone like that who has a few years of specialty experience. It is also called as a sponsorship route, which means that your GMC registration and your UK visa will be sponsored by the uh, hiring trust. Remember, sponsored does not refer to a monetary sponsorship. Sponsored refers to them issuing you a certificate of sponsorship, which means they will vouch for your GMC registration and therefore they will be responsible for getting your GMC registration done. Prerequisites, of course, they require a few years of professional experience, a good CV with a good number of curricular and extracurricular activities, some publications. There is always an MTI interview in which questions are asked about your branch and about the things that you have done, and also a little bit about your knowledge of the NHS. And most importantly, not all the posts which are advertised are available to be filled by the MTI. So availability of a relevant post is also a prerequisite for the MTI. Pros of this are that it is a fast track entry into the system for someone who wants to get there quick, and it gives you a permanent GMC registration. On the other hand, MTI has a lot of competition since it is a route which anyone with the requisite experience can apply, and therefore proportional to the competition there is a relatively low selection rate, and once you are selected through MTI it is difficult to get selected again, and therefore it is for mainly for those people who want to spend say a year or two abroad before coming back to the home country. Not all the MTI posts may be on a tier 2 visa. You may have a slightly lower tier, that is a tier 5 visa, which will be given to you. So another system which is a mixed bag and to be taken depending on the circumstances of the person who is applying to it. Now, the main difference which I found between the Indian system and the system abroad is that the exams are a test of competence. and not a test of excellence. So what we have over here, in the case of the PLAB or the MRCS, there is no ranking. There is no one who has a rank 1 in the MRCS or a rank 5. What is set is a minimum percentile, which is the passing mark, which is generally 70 percentile or 75 percentile or something like that. And whoever is able to clear that particular score is declared pass. So you have to prove your competence to clear the percentile. The selection rates are, although it sounds very simple, the selection rates are approximately 25%. But at the same time, it is something which you have to demonstrate your competence, both theoretical as well as clinical, in order to be selected. So one of the things which you will require, I digress a bit, but I think I can take a few minutes off in this session to talk about CV building, because what you do require for any application abroad, be it going through your PLAB or be it going through your MRCS, the selection is quite dependent on what you have done in your life so far. So what you must have in your CV is a set of these things. Number one is the employment history, which means what all you have done in your professional career in reverse chronological order. Followed by that, a set of awards or prizes, whatever awards, citations, and other things which you have received. Then audits and presentations, which is your clinical research which you have done, all of that in the chronological fashion. Any other courses which you have done, that is your be it your ATLS or your ACLS, or be it some sort of a thesis writing course, an academic research literature workshop, so on and so forth. And lastly, any and all of your research which has gone to print, which is a set of publications. So if anyone is interested or anyone has doubts about CV building, of course I will be putting out my contact details on the last slide of this PowerPoint. So of course, you can feel free to get in touch and we can talk more about this CV building and anything else that you may require. So the question is, where do you fit in? Or seeming so that the PLAB and the MRCS or the MRCP are kind of parallel. Who fits in where? So post MBBS, a good time to join in the system would be an FY3, and then to proceed to your CT and ST phases. And so if you're just a post MBBS student, fresh out of the grill, then a PLAB is a good option for you. If you are post residency, that is, you have a couple of options open to you after having completed your residency. You can go in for your MRCP or your MRCS, go into a training job, and then go via a CESR route and become a consultant. If you're looking for a short-term training, the MTI is also an option for you. Moving on, of course, why the UK? Now, this is again not a marketing strategy, but this is something which resonated with me. This is why I felt that UK was a nice place for me to go. Number one is that it is a very stratified training, which means that everything runs on an SOP and everything runs on a protocol. And therefore, you have the entire medical system, which is very, very protocol based and very, very stratified. Moving on, the entire protocols are, of course, not just a conjecture or a means of someone's imagination, but they are very much evidence-based and based on genuine research. And most importantly, for an Indian medical graduate who is going abroad and looking for abroad opportunities, there are always opportunities to enter surgical fields, which may be a little difficult in other exams such as the USMLE or any other countries which you may plan. UK is more welcoming to Indian graduates, and it is a very good place to learn and hone your skills when it comes to the sort of these training jobs. And of course, as someone on the internet has said, if you're in the UK and you are not enjoying London, then you are not in the UK. So a lot of non-academic benefits of being in a nice place. There's a lot of place to travel, and there is a lot of place to explore the world, which you would love to do while we are in the age of traveling and exploring the world. And this is the kind of things that you see in London on a standard evening. and it's a lot of good architecture and a lot of nice walkable, so to say, Instagrammable locations. Although this is not the first thing we would think of, but surely it pays to be working in a nice place where you look forward to going every day. Also, a few more things. Something which has been implemented extensively and completely across the UK is something called as the EWTD, which is the European Working Time Directive. So, European Working Time Directive states that doctors will work for only 40 hours a week at maximum, and including overtime, only 72 hours a week. And the overtime is a opt-in kind of an overtime where you can ask for overtime. It is not something which is given to you. You also have a good amount of annual leaves and study leaves and sick leaves with a decent income and a free healthcare. For those who are looking to settle abroad, it's an easy settlement in about 6 or 7 years. And of course, proximity to Europe. If for those who are interested in going to Europe for a few short courses or to learn or to work or to travel and explore. And lastly, you will never feel alone because there is a lot of Indian diaspora in the UK, and therefore it's never a big jump from home. Little bit of homesickness, of course, can be expected, but at the same time, there is no uh, feeling of being in an alien land. And of course, the most important part is that a lot of this information, which I am talking about, and details about anything and everything that I have spoken about, is available on Google. It is entirely transparent and open source information, which you can find anywhere. And so, Google is your best friend when it comes to doing research. And therefore, when you're researching about this topic, go ahead, read on the official websites, and a lot of information will be available to you. A little bit of what was what I went through in the past year. Of course, it's been a difficult 2 years for everybody, and I was lined up to go to two very high volume centers in India in order to pursue arthroplasty, which is my area of interest. But however, the COVID pandemic caused me to cancel both of those, and of course, stay in the parent institute, which I am in right now. And of course, it was quite a setback. And no doubt, our profession is about taking setbacks as and when they come, and then recovering from them and standing up stronger. So there may be times of frustration, and of course, there may be some kind of a new road which opens after a setback. What I learned from my setbacks was that uh, always look for a bigger, better deal. Never be afraid to seek new horizons or to change your plans. And most importantly, never put all your eggs in one basket. So it may seem that you're in a place where there is a lot of conundrum and there's a lot of thought process going on, but it's all a part of the plan, and God puts us on the right track whenever we are in a mental dilemma. So that being said, I hope you like this little informative session about the training routes and the ways to get into the UK. My contact info is here. This is my Gmail ID. This is the Instagram handle, and this is my mobile number for queries. And here we have 4 websites which give a lot of information. One of them is called Nasir's Journey. The other one is called Road to UK. Third one is called BDI Resourcing. And the fourth one is, of course, the official GMC website, which is gmc-uk.org. So this was our session, and I again thank Raghunandan Ramanathan from the entire medicine team and the team of IIMS and Tamil Nadu for hosting this session. So Raghu, I hand over to you now. Let us see if we have any doubts.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, is there any doubts in the chat box?
No, sir, I have not received any question yet.
Okay. So if you have any doubts, you can just put down in the chat box. I'll just give you a minute time. If you anyone have any doubt, you can just put down the chat box. And if at all, if you don't want to open up, you can also message me, or you can also mail sir directly. If you have any
Yes,
doubts or any
definitely.
queries in future, we will be happy to help you out.
Definitely,
And
yes.
you would have also seen various videos, various lectures by sir in our YouTube channel. You're always free to utilize those videos, and it will be very useful for your final year, because as a final year student myself learned a lot from those lectures. So you can also use that and you can just get benefited out of it. And regarding you can even about the entrance exam, that is NEET, sir has given a very beautiful explanation in our same YouTube channel. As well, we have a separate YouTube channel for sir too. You can also visit that and you can also see those videos. There are even we have done a workshop on trauma life support in our own YouTube channel, which is conducted as a hands-on session by Pratik Joshi sir in BJ Medical College. You can also see that when you have time. Thank you so much, sir, for spending your time and giving us a beautiful explanation. And most importantly, like various confusion when we had about the MRCP exams and when to appear that and how to crack that too. We would also be happy when in future if you also share on the pattern of MRCP exam, because we many people ask that doubt, like how to attend that session, what is the pattern of the MRCP exam, and how usually it will be. So that
Yeah,
if you have, you
that
can
would be
also.
nice. Hopefully, by say the same time next year also, I should be in a position to talk about that. So, just hoping for the best and fingers crossed.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. And just one doubt, sir,
Yeah,
regarding the PLAB exam and MRC. Is like, as you told, the best time to do is like we have a separate timeline. But
yeah,
can after completing MBBS, can a person even write MRCP? Though a PLAB
definitely.
is better one.
Yes, yes, definitely. Definitely you can. And there the eligibility for MRCP or MRCS for surgical branches is MBBS graduate. So you can definitely write the MRCS, nothing wrong with that. And it will be a slightly difficult exam from what we are used to. But there are many people who have cleared the MRCP and MRCS after MBBS alone. And they also join in on the pathway over there. So definitely MRCP, MRCS can be given after MBBS as well. Yes.
Okay. So I have received one question from the in the WhatsApp, sir. Like, why? What is the difference between like many times people get confused with this FRCP fellowship as well as MRCP. That is this one. So what is the
Yeah.
difference? Like, few people think after MBBS we can do FRCS or FRCP directly. So is there an option or what is the exact difference?
See, FRCP or FRCS, the fellowship exam is a higher level exam than the MRCP. So in most cases, you cannot give the FR exam without giving an MR exam. So it generally what happens is that what you go, if you enter the training by clearing your MRCP or MRCS, go through the entire training and then finish your training by clearing the FRCP. So it's like an entry exam and an exit exam. So there are some cases where you can just give the FRCP or FRCS, but that is just for the degree. It does not confer you a GMC registration, or it does not give you a training place in the UK. So that is for something, and that is not an option which is taken by a lot of people, and therefore I did not include it. But for all practical purposes, MRCP or MRCS is an entry exam onto the specialist pathway or onto the specialist training pathway, and the FRCP, FRCS is the exit exam, which signifies that you have finished your training, you have achieved that level of competence, and now you can become a consultant. It's like that.
Okay. Okay, so once when we complete this MRCP or MRC, when we crack this exam, once we clear this exam, we will be posted into some residencies. In how to select, sir? Like we have, as you told, you have 4 colleges. So
Yeah.
is it our selection or is it like?
That selection will be done by you before you apply, because you will be applying to a particular college. So you will be applying to Royal College of England, Surgeons England, or Royal College of Surgeons of Ireland, or whatever, to give your MRCS. So all of the 4 colleges are absolutely equal. They conduct the exam, which is the same, and all of them are equally recognized through the length and breadth of UK. So actually, it does not make a difference, and you can basically join any of these.
And is it compulsory to complete that course of residency after joining, or like after selecting a college? Like only after completing that course of residency, we will be provided with the degree. Is it that way, or once we crack itself, we are given with that
See,
MRC?
when you clear the exam, you are awarded with the title of MRCS, which is Member of Royal College. Along with that comes your GMC registration, which you will have to do. It makes you eligible for GMC registration, and then you can enter the surgical training pathway, or for MRCP, the physician or the medicine training pathway. Then you have to achieve your few years of training. Followed by that, what you can give is your FRCP or FRCS.
Yes, sir. So Dr. Namrata has asked one question, like since in our country we have a lot of cases and patient load is also vast, staying back in India will improve our clinical skills more than going for abroad.
1 second, I'm just reading in the chat box. Does staying back in India improve your clinical skills, since we get to see a lot of cases and the patient load is vast? Now, this is a basically what I would say is this is a unidimensional question, which means that the person who has asked this question, what you are thinking is that clinical skills is proportional to patient load, which is true, no doubt. No doubt, the building of clinical skills is proportional to patient load. But that's not the only factor which factors in upon your clinical learning. You also need to have, number one, a good amount of protocols and SOPs and things like that, which means that apart from just clinical learning, what is important is clinical decision making and clinical running of clinical management, which is something which is different across countries and more importantly different across branches. Second is, of course, what you require is the load of the specific kind of patients. For example, in the case of surgical branches, I have finished my surgical residency from Pune, Maharashtra, India, and we have had a good amount of clinical exposure. I am very, very happy and grateful to my institute, which has given me that kind of clinical exposure. At the same time, if you were to be in a department where it is a non-surgical, it's a medical department, then the kind of patients you are getting are proportional, or they are a slice of the society in which you are living. So in a place like India, you'll get a lot of tuberculosis, you will get a lot of say infectious disease, so on and so forth, which you may not get in a country which is say US or UK, where they will have more of degenerative diseases, they will have more of vasculitis, so on and so forth. So you will develop your clinical skills proportional to what you commonly see over here, but you will miss out on things which are not common. And the same applies to doing your PG anywhere in the world. You will be very proficient at what you are encountering most commonly over there, and you will be a little less proficient at what is less common over there. So that is how these things go. I mean, that I think that's the answer I can give. Ramesh.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. And one more question from a participant is like, since we are all from Indian graduate after completing for your final MBBS and also completing our internship, is the clinical skill which we acquired in our setup is sufficient to just attend that OSCE or whatever examination which is a part of PLAB?
Those are two different clinical skills actually, because the OSCE does not directly ask you about things like intravenous cannulation and things like that. What they are going to ask you is a set of scenarios. So there could be a scenario on breaking the bad news, or talking to patients about patient's relatives about someone who's deteriorated, or talking to someone about a surgical complication, or taking a consent or things like that. So in some cases, yes, what we are doing will help out. In some cases, it's entirely new. So you will basically have to prepare from the OSCE point of view separately as well. It is not the entire internship set of clinical skills which is coming up. Surely some clinical skills which you are learning in internship will help you out, and some you will have to learn afresh or learn new. So yeah, it's partially helpful, partially some things have to be learned by new.
Okay, sir. Thank you. And last but not least, only one doubt is like, since we have prepared for our university exams and we are preparing for the NEET PG also, how exactly different is this NEET PG? And in terms of NEET PG and this PLAB or any foreign exams, in terms of our preparation. So, is there any your tips or strategy to be followed in exactly preparing for these two?
Again, as we said, I hope that maybe in a matter of a year, I'll be in the position to talk about it. But on a general principle, the subjects are similar. The part one exams also have an MCQ pattern. It is the kind of questions which we have to get used to. So surely MBBS graduates will find the content very familiar, and you will find that the concepts are also things which you have been learning throughout your MBBS. But the format of questions and the type of questions which are asked can vary, and so little bit of preparation along those lines will be required.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for this wonderful session.
Thank you.
And at this outset, I would just like to thank Dr. Pratik Joshi, sir, who is always enthusiastic and guiding all our young medicos as well as junior doctors. Thank you so much, sir. And I would like to conclude this session by introducing this JDN convention, which is going to be held in Chennai in the month of June 24th. At Leela Palace, and this is open for all the junior doctors, that is interns, post interns, and postgraduates. So, can I just share the screen?
Absolutely. Hold on.
Yes, sir.
I'll turn off my sharing and you go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much, sir. We are having a Young Doctors Day celebration in Chennai on 24/6/22 in Hotel Leela Palace, and this is exclusively a event for junior doctors, that is from interns, post interns, and postgraduates. We have various academic events which is conducted. One is hackathon, policy making, research paper presentation, debate competition, case poster presentation, and also various non-academic events, which is open for both UGs as well as PGs. And exclusively for PG and interns, post-interns, we have certain workshops. And one of it is a clinical skill development workshop, which is conducted by the former Dean of Tanjore Medical College, as well as present Dean of Tagud Medical College and Hospital, Dr. Kumuda Lingaraj ma'am, where you are going to be taught about the face mask ventilation, endotracheal intubation, and supraglottic airway devices. And if you have any doubts regarding the registration, as well as if you want to get registered, you can just contact my number. And this is my number, which is given here. And I would request you all to utilize this opportunity. And this is 100% free for all the participants. So you can utilize this opportunity and you can just learn. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for the participants to just get into listen to this and get introduced. Thank you, and thank you, sir, for giving me the opportunity to introduce to this event. So this is one of the biggest or biggest competition, as well as a biggest opportunity, which is organized by Indian Medical Association Junior Doctors Network. And I will be proud to get associated my own organization, Medicine, with this. Thank you so much to all the delegates who have attended today's session. And I'm sure if you have any doubt at any point of time regarding the foreign opportunities, you can just directly even mail Dr. Pratik sir, who would be very much interested to guide you in your future endeavors. Thank you so much, Clarnet, for helping us in organizing this session and also providing us a technical support. We would be happy to organize more session like this in future in association with Indian Medical Association, Junior Doctors Network, and Clarnet. Thank you so much on behalf of Medicine. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Also, we are closing here.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.